Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the additional council meeting of the 19th of May 2025. This meeting has been called to discuss specific business, but before we commence the meeting, I request that all mobile telephones are turned off or switched on to silent. Thank you. We will now commence by reading the Acknowledgement of Country, and I call on Councillor Baillieu to read the Acknowledgement of Country.
We acknowledge the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people as the traditional owners and original custodians of this land and pay our respects to their elders past and present and the elders from other communities who may be here today.
Thank you, Councillor Baillieu. My name is Sophie Tawney, Councillor Sophie Tawney, and I'm the Mayor of Boroondara City Council. I will now introduce my fellow councillors. Seated to my left at the horseshoe table in Council Chamber are Councillor Lisa Hollingsworth, Councillor Shimra Obuki, Councillor Michael Nolan, Councillor Felicity Simfield, and to my right, the opposite side, we have Councillor Victor Franco, who is our Deputy Mayor, Councillor Mal Osborne-Smith, Councillor Rob Baillieu, and Councillor John Fren Pereira. And we also have Councillor Chris Pattis, who's attending virtually on the screen behind me. I also acknowledge in attendance this evening our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Philip Storer, and our Coordinator of Governance, Ms. Kirsten Ritchie. There are other officers in attendance tonight, and they will be introduced as required. Please note the council meeting is being live streamed on the council YouTube page, so you can watch proceedings of the meeting, councillor deliberations and voting. The meeting will also be recorded and made available on the council website as soon as practicable after the meeting. Item 1 on the agenda, apologies. I will now move to apologies. Ms. Ritchie, are there any apologies for this evening?
Thank you, and through you, Mayor, there is one apology. Councillor Galt.
Thank you, Ms. Ritchie. We'll now move to item 2, declaration of conflict of interest of any councillor or council officer. Councillors and council officers, are there any conflicts of interest that you wish to foreshadow for the matters on the agenda tonight? No, so we will proceed with the agenda. Item 3, presentation of officers' reports. Item 3.1, 508 to 510 Burke Road, Camberwell Heritage Overlay, Outcomes of Planning Panel. This item will be introduced by Scott Walker, the Director of Urban Living.
Thanks, Mayor. Happy to present this report to Council for consideration. It relates to Amendment C 405 BORO to the Boroondara Planning Scheme, and it relates to the property at 508 to 510 Burke Road, Camberwell. At the UPDC meeting last Monday evening, 12th of May, the UPDC considered a report that reviewed the Independent Planning Panel and its recommendations for this property. The UPDC has now forwarded the consideration of this matter to Council for adoption of the amendment, which would result in the heritage controls being introduced to that property. The recommendation before you is to adopt the amendment consistent with the UPDC recommendation and to forward it to the Minister for Planning for consideration.
Councillors, are there any questions of officers? Councillor Franco.
No questions, Mayor, but when the time's right, I'm happy to move a motion.
Thank you, Councillor Franco. Councillor Franco, let's move that motion.
Thank you. I'd like to move the officer's recommendation.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hollingsworth.
Very happy to second, thank you.
To assist the mover, is there anyone opposed? Councillor Franco, as the mover, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Very, very briefly, just to say that we discussed this matter at the last Urban Planning Committee and where we unanimously referred it to Council, and the independent report was fully consistent in support of the position that had been taken by Council to that date and by officers, and I commend the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Franco. I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? It's been passed unanimously, so I declare the motion carried. We'll now move to item 3.2, 86 Wattle Road, Hawthorn Heritage Overlay, Outcomes of Planning Panel. This item will be introduced by Scott Walker, Director of Urban Living.
Thanks, Mayor. This item also relates to a planning scheme amendment, in this case C400 BORO, in relation to the property 86 Wattle Road. Again, there was an Urban Planning Development Committee report last Monday evening, 12th of May, that considered independent planning panel that reviewed heritage considerations for 86 Wattle Road, and that independent panel has recommended that the heritage overlay is placed on that property on a permanent basis. UPDC considered that report, agreed with the panel recommendation and has referred the matter to Council for consideration. So the recommendation this evening, consistent with the UPDC advice or referral, recommends adoption of the amendment and referral to the Minister for Planning for final consideration.
Thank you, Mr Walker. Councillors, are there any questions of officers? No questions. Councillors, is anyone prepared to move a motion? Councillor Baillieu.
Move the motion as recommended.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Osborne-Smith.
I'd be pleased to second that motion. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. To assist the mover, is anyone opposed? Councillor Baillieu, as the mover, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Just briefly to say, this property has had a long and storied history, and it's worthy of inclusion within our heritage protection, and I commend this motion to my fellow councillors.
Thank you, Councillor Baillieu. I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? I declare the motion carried. This brings us to the end of the order of business for this meeting. Thank you all who have joined us in the gallery and online this evening. And I now declare the council meeting closed.